Hello everyone, I am not your friend. But some people think I am, and despite me being the most average channel on this website, I myself have gotten messages from people who I can only describe as, do they think I'm their friend? It used to happen a lot back when I streamed Don't Starve with my viewers every week. Some guy I've never met in my life would randomly message me going, "Hey, want to play Don't Starve?" And while there's nothing inherently wrong with asking me if I want to play something, the thing about these people is that they simply cannot take no for an answer, thinking that if they just ask again, surely my answer would change. It did not. Unfortunately, no one has ever tried making a game that explores. If I wanted to crush someone's dreams of becoming a famous live streamer, I'd force them to play Needy Streamer Overload. On the surface, it's kind of like those weird YouTuber simulator games, where the goal is to upload videos that get exponentially more views every time. Only, instead of becoming a rich superstar who everyone loves, you repeatedly ruin Ame's life trying to make her famous. So much so that the game's Steam page questions if it's even possible for a story like this to have a happy ending. For this reason, I've seen people call it a horror game, which technically isn't wrong considering the game contains scenes of cutting, but with the amount of times I've laughed at the stupid dialogue perfectly imitating internet culture or the ridiculous fan interactions, it really feels like more of a parody or a satire, something that makes fun of parasocial relationships instead of a game that actively tries to scare you. A big part of Needy Streamer Overload is something you don't get to normally see. And that's the live streamer's perspective. Most discussion on parasocial relationships is so hyper-focused on the audience that they never even consider the other side. They rarely think about what the person behind the persona is feeling. Needy Streamer Overload is the opposite in that the story takes place exclusively through Ame's perspective. And I find that really interesting, because despite Kangel's many fans who are unhealthily obsessed with her channel, the person who's most obsessed with Kangel might actually be the one behind the persona. And in order to explain what I mean, I'm going to show you what an average playthrough of Needy Streamer Overload looks like. I see you've logged in. This is it. This is where our forever begins. We'll be together no matter what happens online, whether I die, or I get arrested, or I break, or I get stabbed, or I get flamed, or I become God, or I go crazy. But even so, I have nowhere else to turn to. Because I have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, I don't want to go out, I don't want to get a proper job, I'm scared of other people, adults piss me off, and I'm stupid. But I still want everyone to fawn over me. And streamers get fawned over the most right now, so that's why I wanted to be one. Also, she's your girlfriend for some reason, because you really couldn't find anyone better, could you? After this speech, the tutorial stream starts where we are introduced to Ame's streaming persona, Kangel, the person she pretends to be while on camera. The dichotomy between the two becomes more obvious in her Twitter posts after each stream. Hey everyone, wow, this is my first time meeting all of you. I'm not reading that, you're Internet Angel. What did you guys think of my first stream? I hope you liked it, because I'm going to keep trying my hardest to bring lots and lots of joy. So please be nice to me. Oh my fucking god, I made some basic ass post and everyone was still really nice and commented and liked it and stuff. You then get your messages spammed along with 1,000 new subscribers from one stream. Most people would probably freak out if their channel got 1,000 subscribers overnight. But Ame doesn't even react at all. We've got 1,000 subscribers. But that's not enough. I want more people to fawn over me. I need at least 1 million fans to satisfy my desperate need for approval. And we gotta get to that within a month, because that's the most motivation I've got. The next day is when the game properly begins and lets you do pretty much whatever you want, either by actually trying to get 1 million subscribers, or by immediately taking her to the hospital. Doing this causes the game to end early, but the most interesting part about this ending, to me at least, is the message you get at the end of it. If you believe Ame got into streaming for the wrong reasons, or if you think having any mental darkness is dangerous, then the game actually lets you seek help. However, doing so will give you the message, humans can't live completely stress-free, don't you think? As if to say, yeah, that would be the reasonable thing to do in this situation. Stop playing this game like a reasonable person. So I reloaded the save and did just that. Look at Twitter all day. What's this stuff about angels? What if she's recruiting for a cult? Conspiracy theories are always so interesting to read about. But, you know, I feel like if you go deep enough, you'll end up buying into it sooner or later. Curiosity killed the cat kinda deal. I'm fine though, I'd never let that happen to me. I'm the most rational and logical person in the world. By this point it was nighttime, which means the game gave me the option to stream. My two options were chat and chill and gaming. Chat and chill streams are kind of boring, so I chose conspiracy theories. What if the government made you a nerd? But it's okay, cause even if you were all manipulated into being nerds, you got to meet a real life. Feels like you're going to eventually go off the deep end if you keep this up. If there's one thing you can trust is true on the internet, it's that you guys all met me. So be proud of the fact that you're my fan. I would never trick you or turn my back on you. I will shit talk you on my private account though. But okay, that might have been a level 1 conspiracy theory, but that's because the game lets you go much deeper. This is stream 1 of the possible 5 you can do. Before we get to that though, you may be wondering, how does Ame afford a place to stay if she doesn't even have a job? The answer is, she doesn't. And you're about to get kicked out if rent doesn't get paid by day 10. So the obvious thing to do here would be to play more video games. I hope you guys are having a good day. I am super pumped because I've been up early to prepare for the next stream. And I know you adorable fans will love what I have planned. Stay tuned. Everything I say on K-Angel is a lie. I don't have anything planned. Fuck. I just remembered this game where you become some big shot. Only one government 30 years later? Conglomerates are scheming to create an incredibly disparate society where they will eventually take over. They're even trying to reduce the world population to 1 billion, or so the conspiracy theorists say. I shall be the new god of this world. No matter what the world comes to, please don't lose your faith in me, okay? Bless. To be honest, sometimes I think that the internet is such a mess because there are too many people. So what if we reduce the population by 90%? That's just a shower thought though. I'd never actually want to make that happen. Those who do not fight do not survive. And this is the image attached. In order to unlock the next conspiracy streams, I need to reach a certain threshold of subscribers. And in order to gain those subscribers, I began using the chat and chill streams. And I know I said earlier that chat and chill streams are usually boring, so I wouldn't do them. However, in this game they are super interesting, because the more of them you do, the more you learn about Ame's backstory. Even just the first stream gives us a good insight into her character. I love the internet because all you lovely people are willing to listen to me. My biggest fear is abandonment. I can't imagine living a life without being needed by anyone. I love you guys for hearing me out. I'll keep working my hardest for you all, because it's all over if you get bored of I'm bored. Get lo- After that, I used the gaming streams to farm even more subscribers, which is how I got to 10,000. Although, we didn't get to play anything because Flash Games died like 3 years ago. After reaching 10,000 subscribers, we learned that Ame had an old Twitter account with over 10,000 followers, which is likely the reason she didn't react at the 1,000 earlier. But who cares about that? It's time to watch a sad film. Maybe I'll talk about conspiracy theories again today. I got a lot of views last time. But, you know, I'm a little scared that the more I talk about them, the more I'll buy into them. But I don't think I have to dwell on that too much. And plus, I guess believing in them is kind of like its own brand of happiness for those that do. I think I'll talk about microchips next. As technology improves by leaps and bounds, perhaps one day we will all be microchipped. Maybe, just maybe, we already have these chips in our arms. And the moment you act out of line, some big shot could Microchips are like whatever, because even without them you can't actually prove we have free will. What a fucking response. Please ask for help from others, especially when things get too unbearable. That's not you being weak. It takes a huge amount of courage to reach out. Yup, just another day of being ignored but don't DM Angel with your problems, cause dealing with them is a pain. Also, you know all that stuff that happened earlier? Yeah, forget about it. It's all fine because we have a sponsorship. Anyway, the next conspiracy stream was locked by 100k, so I began checking out more of the chat and chill streams to learn more about Ame's backstory. And while the High School of Dread stream still leaves a lot to be explained, the pieces are starting to fit into place. My childhood? I didn't really go to school much. I only really finished, I'm an angel. Angels don't have academic records. I never had to go to school, and I never had to do exams. Next question. You're a dropout? Don't judge a person by their academic record. I may be a little stupid, but I've got a heart of gold. I can't go to school either because it scares me. And that's okay, we can both live off of our cuteness. Who needs school? Do you even have any friends? I don't need offline friends. I mean, why would I when I can just log on and see you guys? We then place some sort of mixture of Doom and Halo to further increase subscribers. What's sociality? Something none of you guys have. Do you like murder? Yeah, of course I do. I love playing games with everyone. Because I never had any friends to play with. Luckily, that was all I needed to reach 100,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, I also accidentally broke the stress cap. No one will save me. I always have and always will be alone. Can you fuck off, please? Although, in very comedic fashion, the very next day, Ame feels better because that breakdown stream is what caused her to reach 250,000 subscribers. What am I even meant to say to this? The answer is, who cares? 250,000 is all I need to unlock the last conspiracy streams. And the first step to unlocking those is to take some magic paper. The fourth conspiracy stream is where Ame goes off the deep end, claiming to have seen the truth of all truths. The chat, by the way, does not question this at all, and I don't know if that's more concerning than what I'm seeing happen on screen right now. Taking magic paper again unlocks the final conspiracy stream, where Ame takes her angel persona seriously and starts believing she is an actual angel who has come down to save the people on Earth. Or the internet, whatever, same thing. Hello everyone, no conspiracy theories today, but I do have something else for you. The truth! She then starts rambling about some incomprehensible garbage. At the end of the fifth stream, contrary to what you might expect, you don't get an ending. This is because there is actually a sixth stream that will automatically play after you take magic paper again. The light stream is best described as 3 minutes of Angel talking about eugenics, as in, taking that kill 90% of the population joke from earlier with 100% sincerity. And then the game ends, and you get the welcome to my religion ending as well as some cool fan art that you can look at. There's a lot you could say about this ending. For starters, it's a funny parody of what happens when you fall down a conspiracy pipeline. First, you're just memeing about murdering everyone, you're not actually being serious. But repeat a joke for long enough and it becomes something you believe in, which is what happens here. However, as interesting as that may be, the entirety of Welcome to My Religion also shows us how self-centered Ame is. The second she learns that the world is ending, her immediate reaction is that she has to be the one that saves everyone. It goes without saying that you need a really big ego to see yourself as the Messiah. But how could she not think like this? By the end of this run, Kangel has over 400,000 followers. That's a lot of people encouraging her to act the angel. However, while it doesn't happen in Welcome to My Religion, there is another ending that shows us the greater consequence of taking your silly little internet persona this seriously. Internet Overdose is arguably the worst ending you could possibly get in this game, and figuring out how to reach the worst ending is harder than it seems, because there's no obvious bad options. The buttons you have access to on your desktop aren't all that dangerous, and they all lead to normal everyday activities. The worst thing you could do is end the game early by gaining too much stress or lowering your affection or something, but the endings you receive feel more like punishments for being bad at the game instead of anything you're supposed to seriously think about. Which leads us back to the original question, how do you get the worst possible ending? And the answer is actually quite simple. By playing the game like your average live streamer. Go for 1 million subscribers, stream every day without exception to maximize subscribers, and ignore the rising stress meter for as long as possible, as the best options for lowering stress typically involve taking days off, something that will kill your channel growth in this game. So I reloaded the game and tried to play it like the most normal streamer possible. Already I was making huge progress, as the channel reached 600,000 on day 16 and then gained another 100,000 by the next day. However, you can tell this was starting to take a toll on Ame because I began getting messages like this. I'm getting more and more subscribers and my fans are showering me with all their love, but they're not any more than words and pixels on a screen. And it's all for my Kangel persona, it's not like they love me for who I am. Even though lowering stress gets in the way of streaming, you still have to do it, otherwise Ame deletes her account and you lose the game. Hence, it was time to pull out my questionable secret weapon. This button. By the way, if any of you know what this cryptic animation is supposed to represent, then I'd love to know because I have no idea. Continuing to play the game like this will eventually lead you to Internet Overdose. If you've never seen Internet Overdose before, then I highly recommend, no, I demand you either buy the game yourself and play it, or watch a let's play of it or something. Because this is one of those things you have to see for yourself, and I don't want to ruin someone's first time viewing of what is genuinely one of the most uncomfortable experiences I've gotten from a video game. I've linked the full ending at the top of the description so that even the laziest possible person could watch it. So please, if you haven't seen this ending before, either buy the game and play it for yourself or watch the ending on YouTube. But do one of the two and then come back, because I promise you, you do not want Internet Overdose spoiled for you. On a very surface level, Internet Overdose is about what happens when people who are clearly mentally unwell get a large following. Ame's continual abuse of pills makes her an easy target for the stream chat, as her manic and over-the-top reactions are exactly what the trolls want out of her, which of course leads to her being doxed on 4chan. It's also a good commentary on how evil people on the internet can be. The hypocrisy of calling Kangel pathetic before continuing to watch her for exactly that. How no one shows sympathy towards Kangel's situation and treats what is essentially a pure nightmare scenario for her like entertainment. The crazy drama of the week that news sites and other YouTubers report on. Like, look at this guy. Apparently, people found out Kangel's identity and she's some weird girl called Ame. Weird name, but okay. Like, what do you mean, weird name, but okay? It's disturbing how often people's real lives get treated like content on the internet. That being said, one thing I really like about this ending is how authentic the audience feels. It would be really easy to make chat this homogeneous entity full of evil people who are all identical clones of each other. But instead, a variety of viewers with differing opinions are present, which makes it more realistic. Not everyone is here to watch the chaos unfold or to troll Kangel. Among the bad actors, there's people who genuinely fear for Kangel's safety, as well as others who just want her to go back to making regular live streams again. It's a small thing, but it makes the stream chat feel like it has real people inside of it. However, that's all you'll get out of this ending by looking at it literally, because the second half of Internet Overdose is filled with metaphors and a full-on poem. So we'll have to look at it from another angle. And first, let's go over some of the common theories I've seen for Internet Overdose. Some people believe that the person ringing her doorbell never actually existed, and that Ame imagined the whole scenario out of sheer paranoia. It's not too unbelievable, as by the end she's legitimately afraid that a helicopter is spying on her, although I don't like this one because it's boring. I think everything we see in Internet Overdose really does happen, and the only part that may be a hallucination is the last stream. Unscrambling the stream title gives you the message, "Welcome to the Internet Angels stream." Unscrambling the end message reads, "Now she is truly happy." But I don't believe that one, because this entire stream is clearly some sort of hallucination. Not only does the live chat suddenly not question Kangel's appearance, but if you watch them for long enough, you'll realize that the messages being sent are repeating. It's the same few messages being sent over and over again. Hovering your mouse over them turns it into glitched text, which apparently translates to "help me." The other theory attempts to explain the sudden presence of blood in the background of the fourth stream. It appears there one stream without explanation, and it's led fans to speculate on what actually went down before the stream. The most obvious explanation is that Ame once again self-destructs, which causes what the game files call water to start dripping from the ceiling. There is another theory though, one that is both more popular and more unhinged. A stray cat came in through my window. Cats are practically worshipped on the internet, so I'd bet he'd get way more views than me. I hated that thought, so I chased it away. After this post, the fourth stream starts where Kangel starts talking about how she used to have a pet guppy that died because she wasn't able to take care of it properly. Then on the final stream, Kangel starts alluding to doing something really, really bad. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not explicitly stated, but like, connect the dots. In all honesty though, I don't think Ame actually killed a cat or anything like that. The blood probably came from the much more obvious source. However, the cat being chased away has some interesting symbolism to it. Throughout the game, Ame is consistently associated with cat imagery, whether it's this tutorial cat that follows your mouse in the intro, the cat ear headphones, or this image. It's not uncommon to see her represented as a stray cat, so when Kangel chases away the stray cat, she isn't literally chasing away a cat, she's chasing away the thing it represents. Kangel becomes so jealous that Ame was suddenly getting more attention than the internet angel that she chased her away. This is further supported by what happens in the final stream, where we see Kangel holding a bloodied funeral portrait of Ame. The eye that would normally be covered by her hair is now covered in blood, symbolizing her death. In Welcome to My Religion, Ame became obsessed with her online persona, but in Internet Overdose, we see the damaging effects this obsession has on her real life, as even when she's offline, all Ame can think about is Kangel and what other people are thinking about her, abusing medication and self-destructing to cope with online drama. Yet for some reason she keeps engaging with the thing that is actively making her life worse. Ame continues to stream every day, desperately trying to force the Kangel persona despite feeling terrible inside. She would rather destroy her mind through live streaming than take care of the real person behind the camera. Something that seems to be rooted in a deep feeling of inadequacy and the belief that Ame isn't anything outside of her internet persona. There's this white rabbit hopping around in front of me. It's so cute. Rabbits were my favorite animal when I was a child. I used to want to become a rabbit. Plus, humans are so complicated. I would much rather hop around and eat carrots all day and then fly to the moon. Way better than being a human. I've been thinking about how this internet angel persona was born from the perfection I've always been subconsciously aspiring for. Like she's the embodiment of my ideal self. What is this rabbit I'm seeing anyway? Like, I know it's a hallucination and all, but I really don't have anything small and cute in my room. So what could it have morphed from? I really hope Kangel becomes her own independent concept that only exists on the internet. Oh my god, are you for real? This is so fucking funny. I'm looking at a mirror right now. Suddenly became really scared of dying, so I want to talk about it. The thought of everything suddenly ending is really scary. Like, what would you do if you just died one day without warning? That shit's scary. I wish I could live forever online as Kangel. Her wish gets granted at the end of Internet Overdose, and we get to see the horrifying implications of living on the internet, which I think is the core message behind Internet Overdose. Don't become so obsessed with the internet that your online persona becomes more important than the real you. Don't ignore your life outside the internet, or you'll become the content you used to produce. Hey! Shout out to the trolls online who have never heard of the concept of empathy, you cold-hearted fiends. Anyway, I'm gonna go and reply to some haters. She's only good for her looks. And what about it? I'm popular because I'm pretty. Bet she only does this for the money. Stay poor, bitch. Have fun with your crusty-ass opinions. Haters are all doing it for the attention? Exactly. Haters are the type of creature that die if you don't give it any attention. How sad. By this point, it might seem like I only reached a bad ending because I never reached 1 million subscribers. Technically we reached it here, but because it happened right as Internet Overdose started, it overrided her reaction, and therefore we never got to see Ame's response to her milestone. However, even if Ame did get more popular, her life would only get worse, as reloading the game and optimizing my route leads me to the Dark Angel stream. However, Needy Streamer Overload isn't a totally cynical game, as there is a few genuinely happy moments which stand out a lot due to the game's otherwise pessimistic nature. One example is the final Kangel Try Stuff stream, in which she goes and visits her biggest fan, an idea that in this game sounds like it can only go badly. Despite that, this stream caught me completely off guard because it's weirdly wholesome. The whole game is filled with cynical humor and witty dialogue, so on my first playthrough I was just waiting for the subversion. Waiting for the moment where the meetup all falls apart and the game's classic funny satirical dialogue kicks in. But that moment never came. Everything goes according to plan and it leads to this rare touching moment of Kangel meeting her biggest fan. There's nothing more to it. This is genuinely just a nice stream where Kangel goes out of her way to make a kid happy. I guess you could make the argument that she's only doing it to look better on camera, but... shut up. There's also the good ending you can find if you play the game correctly and find a good work-life balance. And to do that, I'm going to do something no self-centered YouTuber with high ambitions for fame would ever do. Take a break. Oh, for fuck. You can tell you are on the right path because playing well enough results in Ame getting a music record deal, which on the penultimate day gets you this post. Clicking on the image causes an almost 4-minute music video by the name of Internet Overdose to start playing. The song is about... I have no idea what the song is about, but she sounds happy, so it's probably fine. We then get the final stream in which Kangel buys a new house and seems genuinely happy for once. And I couldn't have done it without all your help, so thank you all. I hope you'll all continue to love and support me. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Bless. I'm happy, life is good, and it's all thanks to you. Let's keep living our best life together. Wait, hold on, what's this? DM'd the player. I guess pretending to be happy isn't too bad, but... thanking him made me kind of emotional. This kind of happiness is so... bland though. Streaming just to make my fans happy is such a drag. Living together with the player is so boring now. This is how the game kicks you in the teeth. Typically when games have multiple endings, especially as many as 24, you'd expect them to have at least one good ending. But the big plot twist of Needy Streamer Overload is that there is no good ending, and Ame's quest for 1 million subscribers was doomed to fail from the beginning. At least in the bad endings, you feel like you deserve what you got. You acted like a bad person, so you got the bad ending. Here though, I did literally everything right. I did exactly as I was told. I made sure Ame never got too stressed, and all I get at the end is the game telling me that this didn't make her happy. Nothing has actually changed. Ame is the exact same person by the end of the game as she is at the start. A good representation of this comes in another ending you can get on day 30 called Do You Love Me? An ending that is best characterized by the words, "It feels good, but it's not enough." Reaching 1 million subscribers fails to fill the abyss inside of her, so Ame goes through a constantly escalating list of endeavors with the goal of reaching the high she thought this milestone should have given. In other words, the entire ending is a giant allegory for addiction. After visiting an amusement park, she starts off with the tamer attractions, like the cute little merry-go-round. When that doesn't work, she goes on the roller coaster that is explicitly described as dangerous. When that doesn't work, she smokes weed on a public bench. When that doesn't work, she goes on the Ferris wheel, something that by her own admission is scarier than the dangerous roller coaster. From there, it keeps escalating and escalating until we reach the final stream at the very top of a big wheel. After saying that she wants to feel something more, the stream ends and we get the message, "Be careful of overdosing on emotion." Whether or not Kangel dies to overdose from some unknown stronger drug is left up to interpretation, but what strikes me as important is the constant theme of wheels and circles here. Kangel starts Do You Love Me by mentioning that the world is going round and round. She then goes on a merry-go-round. The roller coaster could be seen as a loop since they eventually take you back to where you started. And then there's the obvious Ferris wheel. Perhaps this is a metaphor on how pointless Ame's endless quest for validation is. She is never truly satisfied with her number of subscribers and is therefore constantly in a loop, always wanting more, never being satisfied. And due to the nature of a loop, nothing about her situation ever changes. Ame is the exact same person at the end of the game as she is by the start, still going through the exact same struggles. The Ferris wheel could also be seen as symbolism for how with every high comes a great low. While Kangel might feel happy at the top of a Ferris wheel, the big wheel will inevitably take her to the bottom. And once the drugs wear off, Kangel will have to deal with the consequences of completely destroying her public image by smoking that and kissing an unknown figure on camera. Essentially, it's all just another bad ending, because there are no good endings in Needy Streamer Overload, and 1 million subscribers was never what Ame actually wanted. That being said, the whole "there are no good endings" comes with a big asterisk at the end, because there are no good endings you can get by live streaming. Normie life is honestly a pretty good outcome when compared to everything else, and you can get that without interacting with the internet at all right at the start of the game. But there are 3 other endings that are more in your face about this fact. The requirements to get Happy End World are the exact same as Unhappy End World, with the express difference that your real computer's internet connection has to be turned off, leading to an ending where Kangel quits the internet forever. Her audience is initially pissed at this, but eventually all quit the internet as well. Everyone becomes happy, the end. I find it heavily ironic how it's impossible for a live streamer streaming Needy Streamer Overload to reach the happy ending, as that would require turning off your internet, which is not possible if you're currently using your internet to live stream the game. Really sums up the game's belief in about one sentence. Another ending with a similar premise is reached by gaining so many subscribers that Kangel becomes the most famous person on the entire planet. This is followed by a stream that is a scene-for-scene recreation of some random animated series' ending, in which everything blows up and dies. Only here it is the internet that blows up and dies, because too many people tried to join the live stream at once. The entire internet crashing forces everyone to go outside, at which point the game thanks you for your contribution to society. You cannot get more preachy than this if you tried. If you really wanted to, Needy Streamer Overload's core message could be simplified to 2 words. Go outside. I think the reason there's no ending where Kangel rides off into the sunset and starts streaming from a space mansion is because that would undermine the game's message. The whole point of Needy Streamer Overload is that nothing good will come of chasing internet fame. If there was even one ending where Ame truly became happy by tying her self-worth to a number, then that would completely obliterate the rest of the game. It would be saying that acting extremely antisocial and being obsessed with numbers is okay, as long as you do it in this specific way. Ame's lifestyle being terrible is spelled out for us in the Galactic Express ending. I won't get into the details, but essentially, Ame dies. And because she's in the midst of dying, Kangel confesses every single one of her regrets to the viewer in a hallucinatory livestream. That being obsessed with the internet every day was like hell, admitting that the numbers never actually made her happy deep down. But most importantly, I was way too worried about how I appeared to others that no one saw me for how I was. Ame is infatuated with her public image. Her live streams are meticulously crafted so that every little detail gives you the impression that she's an angel without flaw. The background Kangel sits in front of every stream makes it look like she has a nice home that is well taken care of, when in reality, that could not be further from the truth. In a text message, Ame reveals that she only ever cleans the parts of her room that are visible on camera, never touching the rest of the room. Ame doesn't care about living in a clean space, she only cares about making others think that she does. We see this in the game's sequel song, Internet Yamero, where Kangel's room looks nice from the perspective of the TikTok before the video zooms out and we see just how much garbage was hiding right outside the view of the camera. You may be wondering why she cares this much about how Kangel appears to others, and to answer that we have to go over the backstory of Needy Streamer Overload. But to do that, I have to reveal another plot twist, one that you might have already been able to pick up on. You, the player, are not real. There's this secret text file on the computer, which Ame would normally refuse to let you see, teleporting to your mouse cursor if you try to click on it. But in Data Zero, she leaves the computer alone, which means you can finally open secret.txt, where it's revealed that Ame has the ability to just create and destroy you at will. Essentially, you're her imaginary friend, although you could have figured this out much earlier if you paid real close attention to all the little hints the game kept throwing at you. The two most notable examples both happen while live streaming. In I Am Jack's Desire to Watch Movies, Kangel mentions how one of her favorite films is Fight Club. And it's no accident, as in Fight Club, the main villain is revealed to be the main character's split personality, which is exactly what the player is to Ame in-game. After the stream, you get this message on Twitter. Hey, I thought about this when we watched that movie, but... actually, never mind. A much more obvious example is the final Chat and Chill stream, Imaginary Dreamers. You know imaginary friends, right? Yeah, something grown-ass people definitely shouldn't have. I had one as a kid, because I didn't have any actual friends. We had a lot of fun together. We were best friends. I don't think that's a very healthy way to think. Please go outside. Anyone ever think about why imaginary friends disappear after you grow up? Like, what's wrong with adults being a little bit delusional too? Wait, maybe No, it can't be. So, I think it's finally time to go over the full story of Needy Streamer Overload. A process that was really difficult, as information about Ame's life before the internet is scattered throughout various text messages and live streams in the game, seemingly at complete random. Some pieces of lore are locked behind massive paragraphs that are only accessible on a very specific day if both affection and mental darkness are above 60. However, after putting it all together, this is my interpretation of what happens before the events of the game. Our story begins on the 5th of May 2002. We don't actually know the exact year, but around 2002 sounds about right. Ame is a girl who grew up poor. Like, really poor. Her parents were described as having no money at all. It's stated that Ame had some kind of disease or health problems, but she doesn't go any more specific than, my health used to be really bad, you know. It was so bad. Despite the dire circumstances though, her mother would stay by her side every night to make sure nothing bad would happen to her. so that she never had to feel alone. However, something seemed weird about her parents. Whenever Ame tried to talk to them about her interests, they wouldn't pay her any attention. Every time she tried to talk to them, they'd ignore her, almost like she was a nuisance to them. They'd just be like, yeah, and go back to whatever they were doing. School wasn't much better. Ame would get bullied for many reasons. One of the main ones being that she was stupid and messed up in the head. Because she had nothing and no one, Ame created an imaginary friend. Someone who would actually pay attention to her and listen to what she had to say. Despite knowing it was a fanciful illusion, they were best friends. Soon though, she wouldn't need any imaginary friends because Ame would discover something much more real. The internet. The internet was a strange place because it was so different to the rest of the world. People online would actually care about what she had to say. The older Ame became, the more she hated adults. They're always so fake, she thought, pretending that they have no interests while never caring about anything outside of work. For this reason, she hated being at home. She hated being at school and holed up in her room with her computer to avoid all the adults in her life. There were also adults on the internet, but they were all true to themselves, not caring about what other people thought about their interests, freely being able to discuss topics that others might find socially unacceptable, unlike the adults outside. They were so free, so natural. Ame thought to herself, I want to live like that. I want to live on the internet and be true to myself. Unfortunately, life outside the internet began getting worse. Ame's parents would argue nearly every day, and many of these arguments would turn to physical fights. At one point, her mom tried throwing a knife at her dad. Ame was now terrified of being at home. The people who were supposed to protect her were trying to kill each other. She promised herself that when she grew up, she would get married to someone that would make her happy, unlike her parents. Eventually, the fights led to a divorce, but the fighting didn't stop. Instead, they were now fighting over who would get custody of her. It's implied that her mother won custody over her, although now being a single parent, her mother was running out of money. So in order to make ends meet, she tried forcing Ame into It is at this point in the story that Ame runs away from home, hopping around to whoever in her social circles would take her in to avoid being homeless. Because of this, the bullying at school became much more extreme. She was even more of a target than before. At one point, Ame was afraid to enter class because of some unnamed prank they'd play on her when she'd go through the door. This next part has arguably nothing to do with this story because it's a message from a fan. However, this fan's situation is so suspiciously similar to Ame's that you can't help but feel like she wrote this and pretended it was from a fan. I had to go to a psychiatric hospital for a while, and because of that I've been falling behind in school a lot. I'm the only one in my year who still doesn't know what they want to do in life. Whenever my classmates talk about what university they want to get into, or what job they want to do, all I can do is stand and watch. It's making me feel so anxious. To avoid feeling ostracized, Ame stopped going to class entirely and quit before she could finish high school. After Ame quit school, she became so stressed about her future that she could never sleep. Her doctor prescribed pills for her to take, which she quickly became addicted to. A few years pass and what happens next is unclear, but there's two things that I think are for certain. For one, Ame somehow manages to find a place to stay, although the place is tiny and she's only allowed to stay for 10 days before rent is due. And two, because she was terrified of living alone, her imaginary friend returned. I still remember when I would cower in the darkness of my room and stare into space as the days drifted by. I would put my hands together and squeeze my eyes shut, thinking, what would it take for me to be saved? And then my wish was granted the very next day. That was the day I met you. It was like God had brought the two of us together. That's why now I am an angel that serves God. Although, something was off about them. I made things work by myself, but it's still not ideal. The current friend isn't bad, but I kind of can't deal with people only being nice to me. I'll just make a better one next time, one that's so dreamy that I'll never wake. And so she created a better friend, one that wouldn't be afraid to do evil things. This is the character you play at the start of the game. Ame then asks you to help her create the Kangel account, because in her own words, I started live streaming because I thought it would be fun. I wanted to live a life free from society and money and stupid adults and thinking about the future because those things are so boring. By this point, you may be thinking, wow, that had absolutely nothing to do with what happened in game. A lot of the focus of Needy Streamer Overload is the internet, live streaming, and parasocial relationships. Not anything to do with parental trauma or bullying. Like, none of this happens in the game. Her parents are barely a character. They are mentioned as existing once or twice, but we don't even get to know their names or anything about them. So you'd be forgiven for not knowing most of this because you have to go out of your way to learn Ame's backstory. Yet, I find it interesting how the game manages to connect Ame's past with the main themes of the game. Although Ame has the option to move on from her past and start a new life, she just regresses back into being terminally online. She would rather escape onto the internet as Kangel for short-term validation instead of making meaningful progress in life or focus on things that actually make her happy. Weirdly, she seems to be aware of this, which is where her reoccurring hatred of adults comes from. Ame is insecure about how little she's accomplished in life and therefore hates normal people with actual lives. Finding it hypocritical that college students say their life is over when they find a stable job and get married a few years later. Her whole "I hate adults because they're so fake" is projection of the fact that Ame's current purpose in life is to be disingenuous on the internet, faking everything about Kangel out of fear that no one would accept her otherwise. This is also why Kangel matters so much to her, because live streaming is the only avenue she believes she could find success in, as the internet is also the only place that had once accepted her. This is why one of her main goals as Kangel is to save the nerds on the internet and make sure no one else has to go through what she did. She wants to be the mother figure that once stayed by her side when she was younger, to give back to the one place she enjoys visiting. This is why Kangel visited her biggest fan, when normally she despises the sight of them, because Ame saw herself in this kid and didn't want them to feel neglected. Despite her noble intentions though, Kangel's channel may be causing more harm than good. Kangel never acknowledges this parasocial relationship on stream, instead insisting that everything her audience sees through the screen is real, and that she really does love them all despite the opposite being true. Ironically, despite wanting to save the nerds from their loneliness, she might actually be making them more lonely by forcing her audience to be reliant on this random internet girl for emotional support. Something that Ame is actually aware of and makes fun of in one of her private tweets. Remember, the only reason Ame found out about her biggest fan is because a video was shared of her screaming and crying wanting to meet Kangel. That doesn't sound like someone who is saved. That sounds like a kid who just learned that the person they see on screen isn't actually their friend. However, what I love about this game is that the commentary doesn't end there. Instead of leaving it at that, like it could have so easily done, the game digs deeper to show us the live streamer's perspective. Despite being a terrible influence to her audience, the person Kangel harms the most is Ame. Ame's addicted to her subscribers going up because it gives her the one thing the world never did: attention and approval. But just like with the real drugs in the game, it never truly makes her happy because it's vapid, temporary happiness. The parallels between the two are expanded upon in the second log you get by taking magic paper. I feel really good right now, but I'm scared of feeling too good, if that makes sense. Cause like your brain is designed to reward you with feel-good chemicals proportionate to what you achieve, right? Skipping over that and making yourself feel really good with barely any effort would fuck you up. That's what scares me. Sometimes I feel like, am I even allowed to feel this happy? Shouldn't I earn my happiness through streaming and hosting things for my viewers? What would my fans think of me if they saw me like this? This fear manifests itself in a number of interesting ways. One example is the final gaming stream, where Kangel plays through the 2001 visual novel,
さよならを教えて
a game in which the main character hallucinates an ordinary girl as an angel. When Kangel reaches this part of the game, her mood completely shifts, almost like it hit too close to home. Oh, the protagonist just called one of the main girls an angel. She looks like a normal girl to me, but the protagonist sees her as an angel. I see. I guess it makes sense. I know I'm already an angel and you all see me as an angel, but... Suddenly, she goes back to happy mode and quickly wraps everything up before ending the stream. It's such a small, seemingly insignificant detail, yet with adequate context reveals so much about Ame's character. The reason this moment from the game disturbs her is the same reason she's afraid of feeling too happy. She's afraid of what people would think if they found out Kangel was a lie. If her fans found out that behind the cute angel persona is some loser who's addicted to drugs. Let me tell you about a reoccurring dream I have. Everyone realizes my whole existence was a lie. Then, everything turns red with blood. I feel this is not a dream, but a premonition. Everything I've built up, brick by brick, will come crashing down by my own hand. True to her word, there is an ending where this happens. Painful Future is unlocked after completing 4 breakdown streams. Streams where Ame's addiction is at its worst. Taking more than the recommended amount of pills unlocks the first breakdown stream, where Ame gets the idea to stream while high. Initially, this doesn't seem like a bad idea, but like everything in this game, it eventually spirals into insanity until the last breakdown stream where you must smoke magic grass, causing Ame to realize she can't do this anymore. The one you all love is the internet angel. Not me. Not the true me. No one truly understands me. I'm going to put an end to my misery. I'm going to put an end to everything. I'll be streaming soon. No wig, no costume, nothing. You'll all come by to see me, right? I'm not going to pretend that this stream isn't incredibly funny out of context. Ame smokes wheat on camera without saying a word on a stream called I Am Legend. But it starts to become sad once you consider what's really happening. Ame is so afraid of being found out that she intentionally exposes herself before anyone else can, as a way of saying, look at how imperfect I am, look at how horrible and terrible I really am, I'm addicted to weed, stop watching me. Considering what she is doing is illegal, she's likely to get arrested after this stream, sabotaging her real self to take out Kangel. On Breakdown Stream 1, Kangel asks her audience if they would still be nice to her if she got arrested. At the beginning of the game, when Ame foreshadows all the possible scenarios that could happen to her, getting arrested is the one thing that noticeably doesn't happen in the game. So I have to imagine it happens here, especially since one of the chat members called the police. The game then kicks you in the gums, as an unknown number of days is skipped until a thread gets posted asking people if they remember Kangel. Except, instead of hating her for lying to the audience, everyone here actually misses her. Ame spends the whole game worrying about whether her audience actually likes her or not, fearing the worst if Kangel got exposed. Yet when that actually happens, no one seems to mind. People will still support her even after they find out the whole angel livestreamer shtick was an act. Unfortunately, Ame will never see her fans' reaction to this final stream, because if she hasn't returned after all this time, then she's either in prison or dead. I think the fear of not being accepted is the reason Ame gets so stressed from streaming. She can't tell if the audience actually cares for her, or if they're just watching the streams to see Kangel. It's the same reason she abruptly ends the 5th gaming stream. The visual novel reminded her that people only watch her live streams to watch Kangel, because none of her viewers see her as she is. This is further supported by looking at the streams that stress her out the most. The barely following Twitch guidelines streams. Nothing inappropriate is ever shown as to stay on the website, but it's all implying something. All the while, Kangel has to pretend to be completely oblivious of what she is doing, as that is the easiest way to get subscribers. However, that growth comes at a huge cost, as she's basically guaranteeing that the audience will only watch her for superficial reasons. She's just gained a bunch of subscribers that don't actually care for her, hence the high amount of stress received by doing these streams. And this presents Ame with another problem once Kangel gets popular. If the whole point of this streaming account was to gain the affection and love of 1 million people, what happens when those 1 million people love Kangel and not Ame? Her channel growth is inherently shallow, as the nice comments she wants to receive won't even be directed at her. They'll be directed at the fictional Kangel. It's like a curse. She has the love and approval of 1 million people, but not one of those 1 million people will ever understand her. No matter how many subscribers Ame gets, the number of people who like the real her will always remain the same. She can never be sure if her fans love her for the person she is, or if they love her for the content she creates. The internet has brought everyone closer together, except it has also put a lot of people further apart. There's little incentive to just be yourself online, as every social media out there, especially these ones, reward you for being who everyone else wants you to be, instead of being who you want to be. This is basically how Ame acts as a character up until the final true ending. After reaching every other ending in the game, you unlock Data Zero, a save file where Ame decides to make her own choices instead of listening to what you have to say, literally speedrunning the entire game by herself as a metaphor for her not needing the player anymore. Throughout the game, Ame is miserable because no one in her life ever accepted her. Yet by spending all that time trying to make others love her, she only ever makes her life worse. In the true ending though, the person who was supposed to love Ame was Ame herself. She overcomes the desire for approval by accepting who she is and becoming her own best friend, rather than expecting someone else to do that for her. And that's it. That's the end. After that, Ame leaves the screen and moves on with her life, leaving you with nothing else to do. The game doesn't end. You can sit here for as long as you like, but nothing else will happen. The game just waits for you to do the same.